In my weekly videos, we've talked about a lot of different stereotypes about French people. Some good, some bad. But there is a very common one that we haven't talked about yet. The idea that French people have a very poor work ethic or simply never work. Is it true? Well, there are some interesting differences between work culture in France and in other countries, like the United States, for example, that make it seem like we are unproductive or simply never work. Our work hours are different, our vacation time is different, and our approach to holidays is definitely not the same. But does that really mean we never work? In today's video, I will explain this unique aspect of French culture and give you some helpful everyday vocabulary along the way. C'est parti! The stereotype that French people work less might come from several factors. One of them might be les 35 heures, the official 35-hour work week, les 35 heures. In the year 2000, this law was introduced by politician and minister Martine Aubry to replace the 40-hour work week.
Car nous avons fixé un cap et nous nous y tiendrons.
The goal was to give French workers more leisure time while reducing le chômage, unemployment. Many French people on the left viewed this as progress for workers' rights. Many French people on the right viewed this as weird and counterproductive. And they still use this as a sign to say that French people should work more. But all in all, 20 years later, we saw that this change didn't really make much of a difference one way or the other. For instance, many employees kept doing the same work as before, but in fewer hours. So it led to more leisure time, but sometimes also to more stress and burnouts. But really, most people are going to work 40-hour work weeks anyway. It's just that they get paid in les heures supplémentaires, overtime pay, les heures supplémentaires. Or they will have their overtime kind of refunded as special vacation days called les RTT. These are actually kind of important in French culture, and I will tell you more about it in today's blog post for the lesson. You can check it out at my website. Just click on the link below this video. It is free. And with RTT and vacation days, there is something very important that we should talk about in French people's work life. It is les vacances, the holidays, les vacances. Each year in France, we have 11 public holidays. They are called un jour férié, un jour férié. Some of them are national holidays, such as le 14 juillet, le 14 juillet. And some of them are Christian holidays, like le lundi de Pâques, Easter Monday, le lundi de Pâques. In addition to these public holidays, French employees are entitled to at least one mandatory weekly day off, which is usually the Sunday. Each year, the number of paid days off actually vary. Why? Because some holidays like Christmas can fall on a Sunday. Or sometimes they fall on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and then many French people will do le pont. We say faire le pont, literally make the bridge. Faire le pont. Faire le pont means that workers are going to use one of their vacation days to have a 4-day-long weekend. And we can do that thanks to les congés payés, les congés payés. These are paid vacation days that date back to 1936. It started off as 15 vacation days that allowed many French employees to enjoy a holiday for the first time. Later, this number was increased to 18 and then 25 days. And this is our current 5 semaines de congés payés. 5 weeks of paid vacation time per year. 5 semaines de congés payés. These vacation days play a huge role in French culture actually. They are a symbol of workers' rights and well-being. The summer months of July and August are known as les grandes vacances, literally the big holidays, les grandes vacances. They're also called les vacances d'été, the summer holidays, les vacances d'été. They're especially popular because some employees take the entire vacation all at once in the summer. Those who take their vacations in July are called les juilletistes, and those who take them in August are called les aoussiens. So in total, French people do have lots of holidays, especially compared to other countries. But I know that the stereotype of French people working less also comes from something else. It is the time taken from la grève, the strike. La grève. C'est quoi la grève? Strikes happen depending on the news, but to be fair, you can probably expect un mouvement social, a social protest or a strike, every 6 months, just to give you an idea. Some trains are cancelled, the metro gets really crowded, and you can probably join une manifestation, a protest, une manifestation somewhere. But French people don't see this as laziness or wanting to work less. We see this as a tool to defend a certain relationship to work and to get better working conditions. Now, of course, it is a controversial topic and many French people will disagree. And the fun thing is that all sides tend to think that the other side is in power. But we can all agree on one thing. French strikes and protests come from a long history or even mythology of popular unrest. From les gilets jaunes, the recent Yellow Vest movement, to Mai 68, the influential May 1968 protests and riots in Paris, to la Commune de Paris in 1871, la Commune de Paris that I will cover in more detail in the blog post for this lesson. French culture loves embellishing strikes and protests. To the very beginning of French democracy even, la Révolution de 1789. La Révolution de 1789. And this kind of popular images keep people motivated, even these days with the protest against the law on the retirement age. But in truth, all these examples are only a reflection. Holidays, protests, shorter work weeks, these all come from a general French attitude to work that is basically quality over quantity. Because when they work, French people do work a lot and get things done. French workers have a high productivity, even higher than most comparable countries. This might be partly because people with a lower productivity are simply unemployed in France. But it also comes from a respect for good working conditions, as defined by social negotiation throughout the decades. French people do respect long lunch breaks, as well as solid leisure time during the holidays, including le droit à la déconnexion, the right to be cut off from work emails and notifications when in holidays. When it is late at night and most shops are closed, or when it's Sunday and you can't buy baguette because the baker is having a day off. We understand that it is only the price to pay to live in a society giving better working conditions to its employees. Finally, I do have to say this. All these ideas are mostly generalizations. I cannot get into all the pros and cons and history and point of views here. But you can learn a bit more about this in the blog post for today's lesson. You will find many extra resources there about everything I talked about today to start you off. But for now, keep exploring French culture with me with my lesson on French words that French people never use. Just click right here on your screen to access the next lesson and I will see you there. Allez, à tout de suite!